What's up, my friends? Today I'm going to bring you a Temtem guide on how to catch a Luma. So I came from Pokemon, as I'm sure many of you did, and I first thought that catching a shiny was an impossible goal. And today I'm going to show you that it's not impossible, it's attainable. I'm going to give you a little bit of the methods that I use. I'm going to show you some of the statistics, explain the numbers behind the scenes, give you some methods, tips and tricks and resources that are going to help you catch your first Luma and hopefully turn you into an amazing Luma hunter in the future. So with that, let's get started. So the first thing I want to show you guys is this is the Crema website. This is the official developer website, and I'm recording this on March 10th, 2020. So the information that I'm giving you could change. This is as of patch 0.512, as you can tell, which was released on the 17th of February 2020. And what I want to show you guys is that they reduced the overall Luma rate from 1 out of 6,000 to 1 out of 8,000. So basically what that means is you have a 1 out of 8,000 chance in any given encounter to witness a Luma. If you roll an 8,000 sided dice, you'd have to roll that dice a 1 in order to see your Luma. Put another way, you have about a 0.0125% chance to see a Luma. And that is about 1/100th of 1%, just over that. So it is going to take a lot of work, guys, but we're going to go ahead and give you a method in this video that's going to show you the most efficient and straightforward path that you're going to be able to acquire your Luma. Essentially what we're going to be doing, guys, is we're going to be trying to maximize our number of encounters per hour. Because we have such a low chance of seeing a Luma, we have got to roll the dice a lot of times, so to speak. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to a place where there's a high encounter rate, or the highest possible encounter rate for each Temtem, and we're going to roll a ton of encounters on those Temtems. Now before you actually go off to whatever area you're going to hunt for Lumas in, you're going to want to make sure that you have an entire team full of healthy Temtems. You're going to want to do that for a few reasons. The first being, you're going to want to be able to tank any hits that your Temtem is going to be able to dish out while you're trying to throw Tem cards at it. On the same hand, you're going to want to have as many Tem cards as you possibly can. You're not going to want to hunt down that Luma for hours and hours and hours, only to find out that 1, your Temtems die, or 2, you ran out of Tem cards. And the third thing, you're going to want to make sure you have Temtems that can damage the Temtem that you're hunting without actually killing it. So for that reason, I like to bring a couple of high-level Temtems that can tank some hits, allow me to survive while I am throwing cards at the Temtem I'm hunting for. And you're also going to want to bring a few low levels so that you can do some damage without worrying about killing them. This is a resource that I use pretty often, guys, and I will link this website in the description. So it is called temtactics.gg, and you can use the map feature here that I have on screen to go ahead and search any location in the game for any Temtem that you might want to Luma hunt. So in this case, I'm here in Denise, which is the first location in the game, and we are going to be hunting for Fomus. So you can filter for Fomus, and then all of the spawn locations for Fomus will be highlighted. And I typically use this spot here that's in the corner of the Solaro River, and you can see here that Fomus have a 100% chance to spawn in this location. So you're going to want to use this tool, guys, to find the highest chance that you can get for each spawn for the Lumas that you're hunting. And then you're going to want to go to that spot and move on to the next step. So as you can see from the clip that I got playing in the background for you guys, we are in the Solaro River area, and we are actually hunting Fomus. So Fomus have a 100% encounter rate in this area. So every single encounter that you see in this area will be a Fomu. Now I ran an experiment where I used a stopwatch to time myself of how many encounters I could get per hour. So this includes any single battles and double battles, and I ended up getting 254 encounters per hour. Because the encounter rate for Lumas is 1 out of 8,000, what we're going to want to do is shoot for 8,000 encounters, because that is the expected value that we will be able to see one Temtem. So at the rate that I described earlier, 254 encounters per hour, if you get that many encounters per hour, and keep in mind it's going to be slower or faster depending on how fast you do it, that's just how fast I did it. If you get 254 encounters per hour, it will take you approximately 31.5 hours to reach 8,000 encounters. Now keep in mind, guys, that doesn't include any breaks you might take, including bathroom, going to get food, anything that's not specifically running from Temtems, getting an encounter, and repeating the process over and over. Now I know what you're thinking, guys, that is a lot of hours to be farming for Lumas. But what you got to keep in mind is you don't have to do all of this at once, right? You can get up, you can take breaks, you can move on to other things. In fact, I would really recommend doing that. While you're doing this, I would suggest that you pick up a Netflix series you want to watch, or watch some movies, or watch YouTube videos, Twitch streams, whatever you can do that's a passive activity that can take your mind off of this, because it can get very monotonous if you're doing it for hours on end. And if you're just focusing specifically on this, there's a very good likelihood that you'll get bored or you get frustrated, and you don't want to do that, because as soon as you stop hunting for Lumas, as soon as you get frustrated and give up, that means that you don't have a chance of getting your Lumas. Also, one thing I do is you might want to pair up with a buddy. For example, I have my girlfriend switch on and off with me when I want to break. She helps me to Luma hunt. So if you have somebody in your house that can help you do this and take your mind off of it, in the long run, it'll really benefit you, because this is a marathon, guys. It's not a sprint. You're going to have to go for a long time. So make sure that you pace yourself and don't get yourself too frustrated and burnt out doing this. Now, a little bit more on the statistics side of things. I mentioned earlier that for a 100% encounter Temtem, it would take you approximately 31.5 hours to reach 8,000 encounters. Now, the funny thing about statistics is that doesn't guarantee that if you were to see 8,000 encounters that you would in fact get a Luma. You actually have about a 63% chance after 8,000 encounters of encountering it, which leaves about a 37% chance that you won't see one. So in fact, it doesn't guarantee you that you'll see one if you get that 8,000 encounters. The next question that I asked myself after doing this research was, well, if I get 8,000 encounters and it doesn't guarantee me a Luma, how many encounters would I have to do in order to actually get a very high likelihood of succeeding? So I did the math for you guys, and it turns out if you want a 95% chance of getting that Luma, you would need to score approximately 23,965 encounters. And at the rate that we described earlier of 254 encounters per hour, that would take you approximately 94.35 hours to attain. Now guys, make sure that you realize that this is all based around probabilities, and things could happen one way or the other to either extreme. So I know some people who have done a couple hundred encounters after about a half an hour and have gotten a Luma. I've seen people who've gotten 3 Lumas after 1 hour. It also could take you weeks to get a Luma that you expect to find within days. So keep in mind, guys, these are only expected values. This is just to give you some context and a little bit of information about how much time you might expect to spend, but it could go either way with statistics. I wanted to give you guys a couple different examples of what you can expect in Luma hunting with different Temtems that have different encounter rates. So the second example I'm going to give you is actually Hidoti, and this is in the Superior Amnesia part of the map, and I decided to use this piece of grass here. And as you can see, Hidoti has a 40% spawn rate. So out of every 10 encounters you see in this area, you will see approximately 4 Hidotis. If you think about how that's going to materially affect your Luma hunt, you've got to think that it's going to take you longer to get at those 8,000 encounters that we described earlier. So at the rate I described earlier, 254 encounters per hour, that is total encounters, and that is for a 100% spawn rate. So at a 40% spawn rate, you can roughly expect to find that same ratio, 101.6 encounters per hour. Now, if you're going to have that many encounters per hour, it's going to take you approximately 78.7 hours in order to hit that magical 8,000 encounter mark. And like I said, guys, earlier, that'll give you approximately a 63% chance of an encounter and a 37% chance that you won't encounter the Hidoti. And if you wanted to see how many you would need to get that 95% assurance rate, which essentially all but guarantees that you'll see the Luma you want, that will take approximately 235.6 hours. The next example I want to show you guys is the very popular Temtem Ness Law. Now this one's really good because it can give you the electric synthesizer ability, which is going to allow you to be healed by electric attacks. So a chain lightning combo with Ness Law is actually very powerful. For this reason, this Temtem is very popular. So you can find this Temtem in a couple different locations. The one I normally use is the very far south of the Solara River, and you have a 10% encounter rate here for Ness Laws. Applying the same rates and math to Ness Law that we used earlier, because Ness Law has a 10% encounter rate, you will only expect to see about 25.4 Ness Laws per hour. And at that rate, it would take you about 315 hours in order to see 8,000 encounters. If you were trying to get a 95% assurance rate that you would see a Ness Law, a Luma version of it anyways, it would take you 943 hours to get that 23,965 mark. The final example I want to give to you guys today is actually located in the Aquamarine Caves. And you get there on the first island of Denise. You're going to have to sail up the Solara River and into the caves here in this location. So let's go ahead and pull that up, Aquamarine Caves, and we're going to be hunting for Oshiara. Oceara is one of the rarest Temtems in the game, and in both of these locations, it gives you a 5% spawn rate. So that is only a 1 in 20 shot of every encounter there being in Oceara. Now the final math we're going to do for Oceara at a 5% encounter rate, you will only expect to see approximately 12.7 of those in any given hour. And in order to hit your 8,000 encounters, it'll take you a whopping 629.9 hours. Now, if you're really feeling like you want to do a grind and you want to get that 95% assurance rate that you're going to see your Luma Oceara, it is going to take you a staggering 1,887 hours to get to your 23,965 encounters. And I don't know about you guys, but for me, that is just a little much. I don't know how dedicated I am to get the Oceara. Let me know in the comments below, guys, if you really want to get Oceara. This is definitely going to be one of the harder ones. I've seen a couple of them out there, and I gotta say, I'm pretty jealous, and I really respect the dedication that it takes to get these really low encounter rate Temtem Lumas. So that was my guide on how to hunt a Luma, guys. So let's reiterate. We're going to want to maximize the number of encounters that we see per hour for each Temtem that we're trying to capture. In order to do this successfully, you're going to want to bring a team of Temtem that's healthy, a full team preferably, a couple to tank the hits of the Luma in question. You're going to want to bring a few low levels that are going to be able to hit the Luma without damaging it. You want to take plenty of Tem cards so that you don't run out. And you're going to want to make sure that you've got some sort of passive activity going on in the background that is going to allow you to take the burden off your mind for these long hauls in Luma hunting. Try to get yourself a friend to help you so you can take some breaks. And overall, guys, just try to have some fun. Now remember that if you get a Luma once, that's it. You have it forever. You put in the work, it's yours. And I gotta say, I have this Luma here, this little Genki, and let me tell you, I'm so proud of it. I named it Zappa. You guys are going to be so happy when you get your first Lumas. So don't give up. Keep at it, guys. I hope this guide helped you. I hope you'll consider liking and subscribing. And I hope you guys have a fantastic time Luma hunting. Peace out, my friends.